And now back to your regular programming.
If you speak better to yourself.
You showed up for probably the dumbest conversation we've ever had on this show.
Let's have that smile again.
Tell me how that happens. Physically should not happen.
Relax.
If you say it
Give me as well.
3 times a day, God will line it up.
He's just an absolute hack, and he gets his ass kicked by the teammates every week. And, it's just terrible.
Welcome back to Hack City. Joe DeLeone, Sean Anderson. Today we are going to be doing a fun exercise. We love being negative on this wonderful show, so why not be as negative as possible? We are going to break down the teams that we thought, after everything, free agency, trades, the NFL draft, who effed themselves the most? Who is the least prepared for the 2025 NFL season? And we're going to also, of course, talk about the Shedeur Sanders prank call. And we're going to pitch, if we have time, it might end up getting cut again, who we think is going to be the 2026 first overall pick, as well as hell yeah, and get F to the week. Sean, can you share with our listeners, though, a word from our friends over at BetOnline?
Here's why I love BetOnline and the nice sponsorship and the nice work that they can do with the show is I can speak directly to the people and tell them that the advertiser is doing what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to have all the lines. They're supposed to have all the spreads. And then it's up to you and it's up to me.
Why are you pointing at me?
I was trying to point to the camera. It just went over. It's up to all of us to, with the information given by BetOnline, all the odds, the largest selection of odds, by the way, to make a decision. And then it's up to the listener, to the bettor, to make the decision. And if that's taking the Lakers giving 4.5, then that's the decision you have to lie with, like I did last evening. Keep putting these West Coast games on so late. I'm sure people are thrilled about it. I was unbelievably mad at 10 o'clock at night.
Did you stay up and watch the whole game?
Yes.
See, okay.
And at the end of the night, I was even angrier.
That was your mistake. This is something that I remember I told you at one point where I said, oh, I'm going to start staying up later to watch these games. Maybe I'll go to bed at 1:30 and I'll wake up at 9 or something like that.
Yeah, sure.
Impossible to do. It's just impossible because if you wake up at 9, you're behind on work. And then if you try to work while staying up and watching a basketball game at 1, the work that you're doing is not good work. So you're just, dilly-dallying around playing with your dick for an hour watching the end of a basketball game. Were
you in my room with me? That's shocking.
My point is, though, I hate these late games, and I've just decided that if it starts at 10, I'm going to bed. I am going to bed at 11:30. I'd rather wake up at 7 and feel moderately well-rested and then be able to get ahead of my work and shit. But, yeah, I agree with you. I hate betting on games like this, too, and I bet on it. I bet on the Timberwolves last night.
Be proud. Be loud and proud. I'm actually be loud
and
proud about it.
If you listened to me on the Sports Geek, you would have known that was a pick that I gave.
So annoying.
How
are you plugging something else during a read?
You could
BetOnline we're in the read. I have not signed off the read. You're an unreal person.
I'm sorry.
Largest selection of odds. Late night, day baseball, boxing on the weekends, UFC, whatever your carnal desire for sport is, they will have those lines for you. In between games, head over to the BetOnline casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker, which I continuously beat Joe at, and the live casino. BetOnline, the game starts here.
I'm not
Keep barely knowing the rules.
I promise I'm not trying to get you worked up. I promise. The word carnal was not was the worst word you could have used because it means relating to physical, especially sexual needs and activities. I think you meant
I meant that.
You meant that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Never mind then.
Is that not the highest emotional investment possible that a human could pour into something?
Horniness? Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that was who you were going
LeBron was playing.
Oh, okay. Never mind. You're right. And you put money on it because LeBron was playing.
Of course. Yeah. I put money on LeBron.
I get it.
Like I do. I'm the mark. I am the horny mark that was yelling in Bowling Green, Ohio, that I am the gayest person for LeBron in the entire state. That's who I am. You want to know about the show? That's what I do on the weekends. Stuff like that. So when I say carnal, and I'm talking about watching LeBron James,
I didn't know that you literally meant it. I thought
it.
that you misspoke. Okay, well, I give you credit for the creativity.
Thank you for the fact check because I am constantly wrong about things.
No creativity is being handed out though to Jax Ulbrich, who is the son of defensive coordinator for the Falcons, Jeff Ulbrich. if you live under a rock and you missed all this, Jax Ulbrich, the son of Jeff Ulbrich, took Shedeur Sanders' phone number from Jeff's iPad, and he performed a number of prank calls. Shedeur Sanders was the one that was the most controversial because Shedeur Sanders was the name that was talked about the entire weekend. This snowballed so much outrage that it turned into a $250,000 fine to the Falcons, one amongst a litany of fines that they've had over the past few years. And Jeff Ulbrich himself was fined $100,000. I also saw that his salary after taxes is $800,000. So he had to give up an eighth of his salary because his son is a little dipshit. Now, the one thing that I found very odd about this, Sean, I thought that the financial fine for allowing for such confidential information to be stolen and used in an inappropriate manner, I think that that is appropriate. I think people being upset at Jax Ulbrich is appropriate. But seeing this being like Jesse Palmer, I think was the one guy from Underdog who used to work at NFL Network. He tweeted, "No punishment for Jax Ulbrich." Jax Ulbrich doesn't work for the NFL. Corey Kinnan, who is a friend of mine through Ryan, he put it so aptly in response to that. What are they supposed to do? Kill him? Are they supposed to just shoot Jax Ulbrich from close range? That is what everybody's making it seem like. And also, he's 21. He's not a kid, but he's also not fully grown. He's a moron. $100,000 of your father's money is enough of a punishment for you to feel like shit for the next 10 years.
It's being worn on him. I thought the Ulbrich apology press conference was the best he could do. It felt sincere. It felt strong.
Sure.
One note about Atlanta, because you brought it up about the multiple fines that they've received. This one, not even close to the most embarrassing over the last couple years. Tampering and having to give up a 5th-round pick for Kirk Cousins, that is super embarrassing. Even more embarrassing than that, Joseph, the pumping the crowd noise into the stadium. Because that means, one, your team is bad, that the fans can't get loud enough, and two, the fans don't care enough to get loud, even if you're at home and an opposing team is coming in. So you have to manufacture fandom.
And then get caught.
And they're not the first, but that is probably, to me, the most embarrassing fine that you can get levied onto a professional football team.
There was one more too, and it was like something like improperly designating Bijan's injury.
Oh, yeah. Of course. It's never anything. I said this on hot mic.
It's never actually cheating.
Yeah,
it's like,
I said this on hot mic yesterday. I said, I'd pray for a deflate gate. I'd pray for anything that is just like actual cheating or actually trying to get an edge, not just, pardon the language, dummy shit, which is what Atlanta's been on.
Right. It's not like a Patriots level scandals or Astros level scandals where it's like, whoa, they won a championship and it was because they were doing X, Y, or Z. No, you guys have been kind of scraping by and not doing, but underperforming is the best descriptor for it, obviously. And you're still getting caught for doing dumb shit that doesn't really need to be done. That's not actually helping you win. So you're just out there dicking around while everyone else is trying to win.
It's so embarrassing. I hate it. I hate getting
get caught for like a bounty gate or something.
And
something cool.
Something that it at least would say, man, they really wanted to win.
Yeah.
You could say whatever you want about Greg Williams in New Orleans. They had a plan, they were committed to it, and they wanted to win. As awful and as angering it is that it makes me, there's a very small little layer of respect right before you go into trashing them. It's like, wow, look at them. They really took a swing. I respect it. They all knew. All team in cahoots, love it. Hate this. Hate the prank call. And everyone's the fallout has always been that's been cracking me up because there's been a ton of players that got prank called. There were like 10 players in this draft that got prank called.
Mason Graham, Tyler Warren, Kyle McCord got prank called. There were a couple others that I'm missing. But there were a lot.
And everyone's, how did they get this confidential information? How could they even come about a number? They're in college. They have group assignments at times. Phone numbers go out. Football players give their numbers out to girls, and girls then have that number forever.
Yeah.
It's not hard to get a football player's number. It's not hard to get that access to. If you're in one group chat with Will Campbell, you got it. There's probably a pretty low probability that it's not going to be his number come draft time. If I'm an NFL draft player, I'm getting a new phone number if I'm actually going to get drafted. Like that would be my plan because that's a brand new life.
Did. That was what Shedeur did. He's got a second phone.
Yeah.
And then that was what immediately like perked up the like, okay, how did he get this phone number? Because only NFL teams had it. I didn't give this out to anybody else. It wasn't the same circumstance.
But you can't, it's a prank call. It's a bunch of dumb frat kids that are like humble bragging with each other offhandedly in January. Like, oh, dude, I was in class with Matthew Golden. I got his number. I told him like, we have this lit 2 project. He's not going to do a thing. Like, and then draft time comes along. Matthew Golden, for example, hypothetically getting drafted or on the board. Hey, it would be funny. Yeah, let's do this. Let's prank call him. I still have his number. That's how it comes about. Right. That's what the frat kids are doing. They're just a little better connected more, and they're filming themselves like jackasses.
I think there was a little bit too much. That's the dumbest part. Don't film yourself and put it out there. There was a little too much pearl clutching with this. And I think that like what the real issue was the fact that confidential information was so easily stolen, right? It makes you kind of wonder and worry about like how easy is it just to grab someone's iPad and to get all that info. The fact that it was so easy for Jax Ulbrich, a number that was supposed to only be available for NFL teams. But the rest of these prank calls, Ulbrich wasn't the one who did all these. At least he didn't come out publicly and say that he did. He only apologized to Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah.
It probably was by the means that you just said. Girls that they met out at bars that when they were drinking forgot, buddies of buddies that gave them their phone number and they were just sitting around on that Thursday or Friday night going, hey, man, I got Will Campbell's phone number. Should we call him? Most of them didn't have the balls to do it, but the rest of them decided to. It's just like we sit here and we wonder, like, how could something so sick and awful happen? That's a ridiculous reaction. People, there's that clip of the Texas A&M bullpen where they called into the bullpen and they told one of the pitchers to start warming up. That's funny as shit.
Hilarious.
How did they get that phone number? That is a hard phone number to get. How do you get that phone number? That is not one that is supposed to be so easy. I didn't even know it is a phone number. I thought it was like a line, not like a walkie-talkie, but like one that's just a direct one-to-one line that you pick up the phone and it rings on one end, that there's no actual registered number for it. That was the most perplexing thing about that video that I'm referencing. But if that shit can happen, then why are we acting so surprised that these monstrously awful 19, 20-year-olds are such pieces of shit for ruining these poor kids' draft night? Like, give me a break, man.
It goes back to where I think Kevin Hart was talking about it. Like, jokes start at the same place, and sometimes they're funny, sometimes they're not, but they all start at the same place of this could be funny, or, this could get a laugh. They didn't get laughs this year. They didn't get the pop. The Mason Graham one was really rough and like really mean.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Like there just wasn't like the humor aspect to it this year because you kind of saw also.
What was it like? Did he pick up the phone? Hey, fuck you.
Yeah, Mason Graham. He was like,
that what it was?
Yeah, he was like, hey, you ready to be a so-and-so team? Just kidding, you fucking loser. And just I'm like, yeah, it didn't land. It didn't land with me. Prank calls are funny. They're generally funny things that could happen. Now, this is probably going to be a shift where you can't prank call the NFL kids. Not that you should have in the first place, but at the same time, this is probably the last real nasty thing that's going to happen to them outside of parlay bettors hitting up their DMs. But they could just go on private, Right. This is like, I don't think you're going to have this type of like unfettered nasty access once you're a part of the Shield. So it's almost like a going away ritual. Like, all right, bye, buddy. You're about to enter a whole new stratosphere of life here. You're going to the NFL. You're a first rounder. This is my last little scrap of reality with you, where we are connecting on the same plane. After you pick up the call from the real coach, brand new life. So I'm going to dirtbag it up with you one last time.
Yeah. I think we need to take ourselves a little less seriously. Sean, let's move on to the main event tonight. We're going to talk about teams that we believe completely blew their off seasons. I'll kick it to you first. Who is the most screwed after free agency in the 2025 NFL draft? What team?
The Miami Dolphins are. And let it be known, we could do this segment every single show. I could pick a new teams, find a reason. If they're not the Chiefs, the Eagles, the Bills, or team 4, the Detroit Lions, you could get put on this chopping block. Miami Dolphins, first off. They didn't solve any of their main issues, which is how do we get the star players in Tyreek Hill and Jaden Waddle the ball better? You still have Tua. You brought in Zach Wilson. You're bringing in Quinn Ewers. Going to be more of the same from that front. Additionally, you know what I love, Joe? Defensive tackles drafted in the first round. And they drafted a guy who I love. They drafted Kenneth Grant. Good big body. Wore 78. Love that for him. Absolutely love that he wore a 70s number as a defensive tackle. Okay. I think that takes a lot of swag to be able to pull off. What does that do for the Dolphins? Does that is the Dolphins one big meaty piece in the interior going to solve their woes? Is that going to get the stop that they need to get the offense back on the field so Tua can throw more hospital balls to Tyreek Hill? No, they didn't address much. Their free agency was very lackluster. Their draft lackluster. Really not. Jonah, help me.
Savane. We're definitely not saying it right. Ryan, I love listening to Ryan try to pronounce it, by the way, because he tries really hard, but he gets it wrong still every single time. He's going to let us know.
For draft guys, I'm just going to go. I'm going to help me, just like Brad Pitt.
I go with Jonas Savane. I don't think that's completely right, though.
That helps. That is a genuine, good acquisition. I'll take it. Second round, take a swing on an offensive lineman. They need help. Teron Armstead, gone. One of the best offensive linemen in Dolphins history. He wasn't even there for that long. Says a lot what they've been doing in the trenches for a while. Everything else, pretty uninspired. They went defensive tackle, guard, defensive tackle. Shore up the trenches, okay. They don't have the quarterback. They didn't bring in some other big help in the backfield. Ollie Gordon, good luck. Maybe we see a touchdown or two out of him this year. Is that a suitable replacement for when A-Chain goes down in week 3 this year? I don't think so. I'm not sure of that. I don't think the Dolphins have any upwards momentum, and I'm calling it. It's a McDaniel hot seat from week 1. And Stephen Ross, their owner last year, put them on a hot seat after he said, I just gave you all this money. I'm giving everybody money. Now I need some wins. What did Miami do? Fall on their faces. Awful year. Terrible. Dead in the water entering 2025.
I'm not all the way there with you on this one. I think that
crazy.
They improved their offensive line by signing James Daniels and drafting Jonah, who I really think is going to just be a really high floor, steady starter for them on their at guard for them. I'm shocked. I scrolled down while you were doing the Bet Online read, and I was like, I wonder what team Sean picked. And I see Kenneth Grant. They drafted a defensive tackle in the first round.
I like him as a player.
You love this trope. I appreciate it. The consistency. You love the trope. Offensive linemen hate defensive tackles. I get it. I mean, you were born and you were taught this.
I was born, correct.
It was in your entire, which is ironic because your dad was a defensive lineman too, but you were taught this from day one to hate defensive linemen. And I get it. You will never allow for a good defensive line pick. I think plugging him in at nose is going to be just so disruptive for that defense. I will concede this one part though. If they are trading away Jalen Ramsey, their secondary is absolute dog shit. Jason Marshall Jr., if he's traded away before the start of the season, Jason Marshall Jr., who they drafted on day 3 from Florida, is a decent player. That should not be a starting outside corner for you. Their other starting outside corner, Storm Duck. That is the options that they're dealing with.
It's a good name.
Storm Duck and Jason Marshall. So even with all these moves that could end up paying off, like bringing in Willie Gay Jr. has upside, this defense has athletes on it. But the problem is they could end up getting just completely smoked on the outside. They should have drafted a corner at some point in the first 3 rounds, and they did not do that.
Well, they had to take 2 defensive tackles because they actually let a great defensive tackle and Christian Wilkins go to the Raiders.
Jordan Phillips. Actually, no, they brought in 3 defensive tackles because they also took Zeke Biggers as well. That was really stupid. I like Jordan Phillips. I think that he's just going to be a nice big. He's got the widest back, like in a good way, just like the biggest lats I've ever seen.
I could have found that from the Florida kid. How high are you on Ollie Gordon though this year?
Is Ryan texting you?
It was just a question.
I'm not answering that. That's a leading question.
I'm just wondering how high you are on him.
I said to Ryan when the A to Z film room that
you're talking to Joe right now. I'm Sean.
I guess I'm talking to myself. Maybe you are really cracking.
I am.
I really think that it's unique that they drafted him because every other running back that they've taken has been a scat back. They've been all these small, little compact speedsters. So I'm curious as to how McDaniel is going to use him. I think that there is an opportunity to have some creative deployment.
Probably poorly. I would wager he uses him poorly.
That was the setup in the right pull there.
I think he would be a tremendous offensive coordinator.
Hear that loud sneeze in the hallway?
Was that a sneeze?
That was really. It sounded like someone vomited. It was so loud.
I'm getting texts. RB1, baby.
Yeah, I had him as RB1 coming into the season for my draft rankings. Sue me.
Into this past season?
Coming into the 2024 season, he won the Doak Walker.
He had a great year 2 years ago now. I actually don't think that that's not a bad take for you for coming into this college football season.
Ryan had Ashton Jeanty, so he thinks he's a genius.
That's unfortunate.
My team that I thought is the team that I think is the most screwed after this offseason, without a doubt, is no question. And I think you agree with me, and I simply took them away from you.
Yeah. It's
the Saints. It's the New Orleans Saints. They had one of the most uninspiring free agency periods. They brought back Brandon Cooks. That's how you know. That is how you know. That is a recession indicator. That is bad team indicator. You're bringing. Not only are you bringing in Brandon Cooks, you're bringing back Brandon Cooks for the second time at the end of his career.
I'm sorry I was late with that laugh. That was Joe deserved a much bigger laugh for me for recession indicator there. Okay. I was out of my element. That's a funny line, Joe.
Your offensive line stinks, and you say, "Oh, how are we going to make this offensive line better?" You know who's a real just gem? Dylan Radins, who sucked with the Titans.
Come on. Show a little love.
You let Paulson Adebo leave. You bring in Isaac Yadam, who's been passed around by every single team.
Yadam, I barely know him. I'm getting
water
for that one.
Yeah, no.
I got to laugh. That's tough.
Regardless, there were all these moves in free agency that felt like they were just trying to plug holes. You got a boat that's sinking, and because you had all this awful cap nonsense you were dealing with, and you're plugging holes. And then you get around to the draft. You have the opportunity in Kellen Moore's first draft class to build the foundation, and he does it with the first pick with Kelvin Banks, a guy who can start at any offensive line spot for you except center, depending on where he's going to be deployed best. I think he brings sturdiness. I like him as a player. But the problem is the rest of this class was like, okay, what the hell are we doing here? I hate the dart throw of Tyler Shuck when you really don't have a quarterback.
That was awful. Yeah. That was heinous.
Tyler Shuck needed to go to a team that had him with the Rams. Great.
I'd be inspired.
Yeah, you get to see if he can pan out and take over for Matthew Stafford. If he doesn't, you take another shot next year. But everyone wants to kill Derek Carr in New Orleans because he just keeps riling them up. He better not even step outside with the way that they're talking about him these days.
You can't even breathe in New Orleans right now.
Yeah, seriously.
Saints fans are goddamn funny people, man.
Oh, I love I sent you a lot of their reactions. I've been sending them to Blake, and he's been laughing about him. But you have this 26-year-old quarterback who still needs time to develop, which is a weird bit for a team that needs to figure out their future at quarterback. And the rest of their picks, Danny Stutzman, no eyes. He stinks. He's
I like the stud. Come on. Show a little love for the stud.
Vernon Broughton was a huge reach at defensive tackle with other great defensive tackles on the board. I like Jonas Sanker. I like Quincy Riley. I like Devin Neal. But the rest of their draft class was like, hey, we need defensive tackle. Broughton. Take this Broughton kid. It just felt like they were plugging holes the entire offseason.
Do you like the stud? I'm going to try to get that started.
No.
You don't like the stud for Danny Stutzman?
No.
He's going to pick off Michael Penix Jr. this year. Maybe take it for 6 in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
I'm promising you now. What week
I don't know.
You don't know.
That was a dickhead. No, we got to go. It's getting released on Netflix.
That's true. Is it really?
May 14th. You don't remember those there were a couple people on the stage yapping about the schedule release during the first round of the draft.
Well, during the season, when Danny Stutzman goes up against the Falcons, we are going to get one of the most heinous ankle breakers of him over pursuing and then falling over trying to tackle Bijan. I promise you that right now.
Danny Stutzman versus Caden Ellis, 1-on-1 Oklahoma drill. Who comes out alive?
I mean, Stutzman, if you're asking me who's going to win in just a lineup and run full speed into somebody, it's Danny Stutzman.
But Stutzman versus Landman.
He is.
He was the Notre Dame kid, right? The real stiff linebacker that went to Atlanta.
No, you're talking about Kaiser. No, not Kaiser. Who was the kid the year prior? Ryan will know. But what I'm getting at here with Stutzman, though, he is one of the most athletic, but like uncomfortable people to watch. Like you ever know one of those kids? He's like Daniel Jones, but of linebackers. You know, one of those kids that was like super athletic, but you constantly would just see them falling over and making the most ridiculous mistakes because they had no control over their bodies.
Yeah, they're Twitch streamers now. That's what they are. That's where those kids go.
Oh, we got a super chat from Edward. I will not tolerate any Stutz disrespect.
As you shouldn't. Respect the Stut. He had an awful helmet in college, but the Stut,
bad helmet.
It was rough. I stop with those. Stop with the airspace astronaut helmets.
You don't like those?
I don't like them. I like the helmets that have barely foam padding in them.
He needs a Rydell Revolution for the Saints. If you gave him a Rydell Revolution, I think that would spark something in his brain to play on a completely different level, and he would be an All-Pro.
Is it pronounced Rydell?
Yeah.
I thought it was Riddle or Riddell.
Are you screwing with me?
No. I never thought it was a hard I.
You're 20. You're 27.
It has two L's and two D's. That's like John Madden's name being called Maiden.
To your defense, I did when I was in high school, I did a lot of stuff with like the rec department and the equipment. So like I was dealing with that crap a lot and the equipment a lot. Why do you give me that look? So I might know that a little bit more than you, but everybody knows Rydell. I've said Rydell on the show before.
I never caught it. I always thought it was a soft I. And when I said both variants that I had, I knew like, oh, that can't be right because it sounded weird.
All right, we got to get back on topic.
Yeah.
The next team that you believe had the worst offseason.
Indianapolis Colts.
By the way, thank you, Edward. I'm sorry. By the way, thank you, Edward. I forgot to say thank you. He gave us a super chat. We kind of just breezed past him. Thank you, Edward, for the super chat.
Hey, Wyatt, don't worry about clipping my second response here for the edits because I just got absolutely buffaloed.
All right, I'll try it again. Sean, what team had the worst offseason?
The Indianapolis. You see how I botch it? That's awesome. The Colts had an awful offseason. The Colts.
I disagree with this.
The Colts lost two of their biggest key impact offensive linemen, and they decided to remedy the issue by taking their first offensive lineman in the draft in the 4th round. That's no good. The Colts added a great, possibly franchise player in Tyler Warren. Fantastic. You're going to look a lot like the Raiders did last year. A lot. It's going to be a lot of ugly, messy, bad football. It's a bad team with two quarterbacks that can't throw the rock. Two quarterbacks that can't operate like a quarterback in the pocket. You're not going to do anything this year. I have no faith in the Indianapolis Colts after seeing what they've done. What could they have done? You present me with options that I could tell you if it would have worked or would not have worked. In this instance, what I've seen what they have done this offseason will not work for them. They are a 5-win team next year. They are going to be rough. They are going to be battling with the dregs. They're going to be battling with the Titans, who might get 2 off of them. Cam Ward might hit 2 licks off of the Colts this year, and they got nothing to stop them. Absolutely nothing. It's a group that has a bunch of drama also with players versus owner. Irsay's a mess. Zaire Franklin, not sure if he's going to still be around next year. It is a team that is falling apart at the seams, and we're watching a collapse of a dynasty, Joe. The Colts, the Indianapolis Colts, our entire lives, no one would say they're exciting, but they were always competent. They're always lurking. They're always, man, the Colts have a good offense. Not anymore, and they don't even have a good defense to boot. The Colts have not done it.
I disagree with you on all of this. Ryan agrees with me. We gave out our grades, we taped the video that's going to go out tomorrow for the AFC South grades. And we both had high grades on their draft class. Yeah, it's not good that they lost Will Fries and Ryan Kelly. I think from their perspective, they didn't really – it seemed like they didn't want to bring back Ryan Kelly because he's getting older. He was kind of not playing as consistently as he did in the beginning of his career. So they wanted to start over, let Tanner Bortolini get in there, the GOAT name, of course. Are you
serious right now?
Yeah.
Was that a serious
Tanner Bortolini? That's his name.
Never heard that name in my life.
Tanner Bortolini.
He's playing in the NFL?
Yeah, he had some good tape from Wisconsin last year, Tanner Bortolini. Jalen Travis is a sneaky good pick. I don't know if he can play guard or not. I don't know if he can crack the lineup, but I have high hopes for that kid. I think that he played at Princeton. He transferred to Iowa State. He had some awesome film. a little sluggish with his feet, but he's one of these guys that just when he grabs onto the inside of you, he's just like shaking onto you like you got nowhere to go. You're just trying to break free, and you're just writhing as you're trying to escape from him. He's one of those linemen that I absolutely love. But you can't go wrong with a Tyler Warren pick, and then also getting DJ Giddens to join the mix of Jonathan Taylor and Khalil Herbert. I think that there were so many value picks that they had in this class. Justin Wally and JT Tuimoloau to add to their defense were quality picks as well. Tuimoloau is not going to start, but he's just like a really good run defender that's got.
You can't take a second rounder that's not going to start like that, though. You can't do that. I'm not even disagreeing with your disagreement because I know you're a Giddens guy. Like I should have scanned and said, "Oh well, Joe," and immediately known Joe was going to not like this because you like Giddens so much. I think he's going to be good in the NFL. I think he will be, but the Colts have no hope this year. This is a less transactional for me. More look at the actual scene, man. They are going to be rough, and it's going to be ugly, messy football, and at least I have something to look forward to this season. Like I have some hope that I can put in a nice little nest in a pocket and cultivate and let it grow and grow until September. You, as a Giants fan, you at least have some optimistic questions. Like, could Jackson Dart do it? Like that's at least a question.
I don't have that question. I know the answer.
Even if you might, it's still an unproven commodity till he sets foot on the field. The Colts are still going to be walking into the season with Richardson, or they're going to be walking into the season with Daniel Jones, who beat out their previously number 4 overall pick quarterback who didn't pan out. This is a team destined for Arch Manning. This is a team destined for the number 1 overall pick.
Arch Manning's not going to declare next year.
I know he's not, but if the Colts were at number 1, I bet you'd consider it a lot differently. Yes or no?
God, that would be infuriating if the Giants missed out on Arch because they took Dart and
just saying,
the Colts had the first overall pick. That would be.
Does the math add up a little bit here?
Sure.
That I'm saying that the Colts could be bad.
I still don't think he declares. I really do not think that he's going to.
Not even. But I'm saying it's more realistic that the Colts are going to be at the number 1 overall pick to me next year. They could be the worst team in the league.
I think that their defense is too good to say that they're going to be the worst team in the league. I think that their offense could be too productive to declare that. And I think Tyler Warren's going to be great for them. My last team, though, that I think had the complete worst offseason, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. I thought they had a decent draft class. Derek Harmon's going to be a really good pick for them. They're going to still have an elite defense. But when you are coming out of the draft without a clear answer on who the damn starting quarterback is, you're screwed. Mason Rudolph? That's what we're doing here. Mason Rudolph is what we're doing here.
I just made this point.
What
with the Colts?
This is quite a bit different though. They literally watched two competent starters, 2 better starters than Mason Rudolph.
There we go.
Limited options, and they had 2 of the options available to them. So competent, these options were so competent that 2 teams in New York offered contracts to these 2 players to start for their franchises.
Yeah.
This is the world that the Steelers were in. They acted so passively. They're either going to end up landing the most toxic man in football in Aaron Rodgers, or they have to go after Kirk Cousins. If you can't pull off the Kirk Cousins deal, which it sounds like the Falcons could be more than happy just being like, we'll hold on to him.
We'll see in June. We'll see in June.
I know you want to hold on to him so you can watch him suffer a little bit more.
Perfect.
But if you go into the start of the season with Mason Rudolph, somebody just knock.
It's the ice maker.
Oh, if you go into this season with Mason Rudolph as your starting quarterback, you're screwed. That is where the regression comes from, despite having a good defense, but it's an aging one.
That's a fine point to make. I would say that the Steelers, they're going to be telling themselves that they're just in the right position for Kirk Cousins right now. We can't bank on Aaron Rodgers. We're waiting for that cap hit to take place so we can get him for the cheap in Atlanta after they release him. So they don't have to bite as big of a bullet. Why trade for him when we can get him cheaper? I understand that. The Steelers are still better than the Colts this year. They're still going to be better than the Colts by far. The Steelers are going to be, I know the question that you posed was who had an awful, ungodlyly bad offseason. Steelers could have a winning record this year. I have no reason to put it to say that the Steelers wouldn't have a winning record.
They probably will. And that's just going to perpetuate them being 3-4 games over 500, 2 games over 500, whatever it is. Anything that's 1 game or more over 500 getting to the playoffs, getting completely worked by a team that has Joe Burrow or Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes, the elite quarterback play, and then falling to your knees and going, how could this have happened to us? How could this have happened to us? Oh, it's because that you have not effectively prepared by trying to – they haven't – this is my whole problem with this. I feel like there could have been opportunities over the last decade to find some sort of a developmental piece. Mason Rudolph wasn't going to be your developmental
I can't believe
piece.
he's still there. Genuinely. I can't believe he's still floating around.
I don't think anyone necessarily wanted him. He was awful for Tennessee last year.
Yeah.
Awful for Tennessee last year. He's been awful every time he started. And you get Mason Rudolph Jr. with Will Howard. And I gotta go through the AZ Family channel comments and see people call me a dickhead for saying that Will Howard's not good.
Oh, here we go.
The belief that Steelers fans have that they think that Will Howard is going to like rise and turn into some elite starter is insane to me. He would have been taken in the first round with their first round pick if they believed that.
The Gruden film room can make a lot of guys look good. This is what I'll say. And Will Howard, I think, got that vote of confidence, and people watched that video because they're very well made and said, wow, well, we can win with this guy. More inspired about genuinely, hey, hand the God Scouts honor. I would be more inspired to have Will Howard as my quarterback than what they got going on in Indy right now.
You're just lying to yourself.
I'm not.
I'd rather have Riley Leonard over Will Howard.
Oh, now we're dancing. Now we're tap dancing here.
Yeah, we are.
That's a real nasty statement to make there, DeLeone. National champion Will Howard, Riley Leonard. Who won there?
Just because somebody won a national title does not make them a better NFL player. It does not.
Don't make me dislike Riley Leonard. I like him. As a player.
Dislike him.
I don't want to dislike him. I don't want to. Suck ass Riley Leonard.
I have a question to ask you that will upset you before we move on to the next topic. Because I'm just trying to determine our timing here. Do we have a voicemail?
Yeah, we have a voicemail.
Okay. So I say we punt on first overall pick so that we can get to Hell Yeah, I'd Get F and not rush through it.
That works for me.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to Hell Yeah, Get After the Week. But before we do, I want to share a word with our friends over at Melon. We've been wearing these wonderful, beautiful hats. I was complaining to Sean earlier that I keep telling myself I'm going to clean the hat, and I don't. I keep putting it off because I keep wearing it so much. I keep wearing it to work out. I keep wearing it when I go for a walk. I sweat the hell through it when we were golfing. I keep wearing it because it's so freaking comfortable. I got to clean this damn thing because I've worn it so much, but they're easy to clean. They're super reliable. And even though I've worn it this much, it still feels like and looks like it's brand new to anybody. You can't even tell that I've been wearing it every single day. And the quality is so noticeable. If you want to get one of these hats, it's worth every single penny. Melon.com, MELIN.com. That's melon.com. Different collections, different styles. You can see my hat's different than Sean's. They've got a thermal collection. Whatever you're looking for, they have it at melon.com, MELIN.com. Go get your own hat today. Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. Get effed. I thought you were going to say something about the hats. I don't know.
This is the Hack City Hell Yeah of the Week. Cue the lasers.
All right. Hell yeah. You go first.
My Hell Yeah of the Week. I'm going to keep it pretty broad here because we're going to have a Get F that is very personal shortly. My Hell Yeah of the Week. Action Bronson. New to me. He has Barry Bonds.
I'm shocked you went with Action Bronson. Shocked.
He has Barry Bonds' I just learned this 2001 stats tattooed on his arm. I think it's fantastic. Batting average of 328, 73 home runs, 137 RBIs. This is Hell Yeah incarnate, where you respect the season so much you would get it tattooed on you. I'm trying to think of the seasons I would get tattooed on me. I might go Michael Turner's 17 touchdown season.
I was going to say it had to be those random shit, and that would be the one that you would go with.
That's the first one I thought of. I could do Julio's 1,800, 1,900 yard season. That'd be entertaining. I don't know if there's a baseball player.
Maybe not the Nats winning a World Series or the Caps winning a Stanley Cup. No, you're going to go with Michael Turner, 17
touchdown season. Yeah. I might go. Maybe I'll do a Jonathan Babineau career stats because I love him so much. I think if there's a player that you really love and you want to, I might even go to a game, like Julio's game against the Packers in 2016 in the NFC Championship game. 10 catches, 180 yards, 2 touchdowns right there. Hey,
just the stat line?
Just the stat line.
See, wait, okay, well, I got 2 thoughts here. One, where would you get a tat on you? Forearm?
It would have to be visible to everybody. Here's the thing.
Ass cheek can be visible.
It could be, but then
tramp stamp.
That feels, oh, now we're dancing. The ass cheek, it feels like I'm disrespecting the player then. Like I would.
No. I mean, well, if you value your ass, then it wouldn't be.
Nobody looks at my ass. Nobody does. It's
Joe,
it's a disaster. So
well,
no
I'm
one
not
sees
looking
it.
at your ass, so I wouldn't.
I try not to let you see it. When I'm wearing the underwear where the ass is blown out, and
also that's a lie. You walk up on me while I'm working in the den over there while you're not wearing pants. You walk up on me not wearing pants.
I'm front facing
all the time. What was that?
Oh, I thought I caught something.
No,
I'm front facing whenever I'm talking to you in my britches. You're not seeing the back of me.
Other bit. What if here's a pitch idea for just general, not for you specifically, but just generally. What if people got it tattooed on themselves on their own personal accomplishments? So like the most beers that you know that you've consumed in a single day. Like that would be a good one. Like what's the most?
It's hard to keep track on the most.
If you had to guess, like 35. Oh. Like if you got 35 beers, either individually, like a beer can, 35 of them on your forearm, or you just got the wording 35 beers.
I'd want to do a trophy with the little plaque saying 35 beers one day. That's
like, that would be sick.
I want a tattoo trophy.
I think we just came up with something cool. How many do you think was the most you've had in one single day?
Oh, I've cleared a case. I've cleared 24. Not easily.
Like a whole day. You don't think you've gone over 30?
I'm trying to you know what? No, I've definitely gone over. I've definitely gone over 30 in Prague because I drank 20 in the afternoon looking at a clock because they serve you big jokers, big beers, 30-ounce beers in a big old stein, and you sit there and you drink 2 in an hour because you celebrate the bottom of the hour because then you can get one more beer and wait and watch this little clock. And every top of the hour, it's like the third oldest clock in the world comes out, little mechanical show. I definitely had 30 beers in Prague. That is a certainty.
So you should get 30 beers tattooed on your forearm instead of the Michael Turner. You get Michael Turner on one and 30 beers on the other.
My mom and dad would I'm 27 years old. They would beat me worse than Ulbrich's kid. God, it would be a tirade you would feel up here in Jersey if I went back down to Virginia with a beer tattoo on my arm. It would be a shockwave. Like I honestly, it might just be a crater in the earth where I am. Right? It would just be a patch of blank dirt right in the front yard of where Sean Anderson used to remain.
I need you to get a tattoo then to see what the outcome of this would be. All right, wait. I got my hell yeah of the week. Ryan McGee tweeted this morning and it caught my attention. His tweet was, dude at 7:50 a.m. At airport knocking down a large pepperoni pizza and a huge beer solo. Are we ... And then it was a poll. Totally concerned, totally impressed. This immediately was like, this is a total hell yeah. As somebody, and you're around me enough, I am like really lame often about like keeping track of what I'm eating. I typically only drink tequila because it's the lightest calorie option. When I'm at an airport, I will do stupid shit like this. I will 1000% will do stupid shit. I will order the biggest sandwich that I can find. I will sit at a bar and I will order just whatever I feel like because calories in an airport don't count. They don't count. They're made up calories. They're non-existent calories. This is a total hell yeah though. 7:50 a.m. Yeah, you're getting yourself ready for a nice nap on that plane.
Yeah, I'm always going to celebrate an airport beer. I'm trying to remember what you had at the Montana airport because I had the pickles and a bison burger.
I was spent by the end of that though. What?
I don't remember seeing you pour yourself or order a nice hefty B.
Well, I had a
nice B.
Yeah, but when we were in Montana, I had a shift with Yahoo back when I was still producing the next morning and we had a red eye. So I couldn't be rolling in still, buzzing a little bit, trying to do a full 8-hour shift and then do a Ruffino and Joe show episode. Like that would have been awful.
I left a New Year's Eve party at 1 a.m. and produced that show at 3 a.m.
Props to you.
Rough scene. You did the right thing. So I'm not knocking you. I appreciate the airport beers. Next
Yes.
time we're at the airport, I got to see you actually cut loose, though.
All right, get after the week. What do you got?
My get after the week. This goes to my roommate, Joe DeLeone, for littering up the table and then claiming that he didn't and that there's no evidence to prove that he didn't put a bunch of stuff that was in the office
I don't know what you're talking
onto
about.
our
I don't
recording
know, I don't
table
know
in
what
here.
you're talking about. Nobody can see what you're talking about. Nobody knows
Don't
what
worry.
you're talking about.
I'll fill them in real quickly.
No,
I'm going to fill them in real quickly
No.
on the
They don't need to know.
this little box.
They don't need to know what.
This,
No.
And then right here, there used to be a bunch of other cables that I moved. I moved those.
All right.
back
You ruined
over
my
there
bit.
into there.
You ruined my bit.
What? I got you.
I was going to see how many weeks in a row I could slow. I've been adding things to this table progressively over the past few shows, and you finally caught on. I've been adding things.
You hid things behind my laptop.
This was here for a couple of weeks, and then I got too greedy with the teleprompter case, and that was where I knew my mistake was. But the cables were there for a couple of shows. This textbook and this Rutgers Pro Day pamphlet were there for a couple of shows. These glasses have been here because every time you sit down, you always complain about how many things were on the table when there was nothing on it. So I was trying to see if I could accumulate as many things on the table as possible and see how long. I was going to wait for the blow up that was going to happen on Sunday. But I decided not to, obviously, because you called me out. I thought you were going to move past. I was hoping you would move past it and I could brush it off, but apparently not.
No, because I refuse to. I refuse to get long con. I refuse to get long con.
This was a good bit. It was working. I got it for like 4 shows. I had been slowly adding things to this
little
table.
things. You drop a big briefcase on the table.
I got greedy. I know.
You should have stuck with the glasses. You could have put all those. You know what? You could have got all those blender bottles on this table. I probably would have noticed.
Yeah.
Now I'm not angry. And now that it's a bit execute, I'm completely turned around.
I blew the execution.
This is not a get F. This is actually a get F turned into a hell yeah.
You got F'd.
I got freaking long con. I can't believe this.
All right, my get F. This is I don't know if this is like a true get F. This is more like I kind of just need a barometer for is, as we always do on the show, was this something socially unacceptable I did? I was coming on Tuesday. I went for like a quick walk to get out. It was nice out. I was going for a walk, walking back to the apartment, and I peer over on the sidewalk on the opposite side of the street and look over, and I notice somebody who looks familiar. I look back over, make eye contact with the individual. It's somebody I went to high school with that I don't like. Mm. This person stops on the sidewalk. I got my AirPods in, very clearly trying to get my attention. I keep walking. I keep moving. They 1000% were trying to get my attention because I could hear them through the AirPods trying to, get me to turn around and go and say something to him. But he was stopping to cross the street. Cross the street, was behind me, and I kept walking. I need to know, was that socially unacceptable?
You're a bad person because you came on here and bragged about blowing off a high school guy.
Let me add some context. I'll let you finish, but let me add some context. I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
You got to know that the optics here are now media personality only. Feeling yourself, finally starting to reap what you've sown. And you don't have time to talk to your buddies that you knew.
He's not a buddy. He's not a buddy. He was not a buddy of mine. He was somebody that like I vaguely would interact. He was like a tertiary, like outside circle person who was in a different friend group, but would happen to interact with a friend group that I interacted with. So like I wasn't friends with him. The reason why I have an issue with this person is because 2 years ago on the Blackout Wednesday before Thanksgiving, this dickhead, we were sitting at a table. We had all ordered drinks. We all were paying for our drinks. This dickhead got up and then didn't come back after ordering a bunch of drinks, and I had to pay for him. I could never track him down, and I didn't feel the need that it was something that I was going to create a blow up over. But I saw him, and I noticed he recognized me. I'm not stopping for that dickhead after him doing that.
Cheap. Mean
vain. No,
I get it. Sometimes you know what? Sometimes you can't be bothered. I understand that. You know what I did yesterday? Mm-hmm. I yelled at you on the street. You weren't there. It was someone else that I yelled. You know where Basil's is? Across the street, walking back towards our spot. Walking past me, other side of the street. I seen who else but. It could be Joe DeLeone. I'm certain.
This would have been during Ruffino and Joe.
During Ruffino and Joe.
Oh no!
And I wasn't processed. I was like,
what did you yell?
Hey, dickhead! He's holding golf clubs. I'm like, Joe's going to the range. Joe's going to get some work. I didn't process that your car's here with your clubs in the back of your car. I saw someone that looked certain. Joe, you like had your shoes. He had like a shirt you would wear. It freaked me out, and I yelled at him.
So wait, there is a doppelganger.
Multiple. I've seen you on the train. I've seen a 6'3" version of you in New York.
I hate that I'm turning into this
Joe
archetype. This is bothering me.
I'm not kidding. He had the same glasses, and I'm like, oh, Joe's going to the driving range. Let me be excessively mean to him right now.
Did he turn? He
just kept going. I looked at him. He turned at me. He didn't react, and I just beat red. Like full on public embarrassment for me. Wait, who cares, right?
Yeah, who cares? But
it's a drop in the bucket.
That's brutal.
But it was like,
I'll never have that mistake with you.
It was one of those where I felt it in the back of my neck, and I'm like, oh no, no, it can't be.
You should have played it up. You should have grabbed him by the back of his neck, and you should be like, "Hey, I'm talking to you."
Joe, I was across the street from him.
Oh, sprint.
I took the time to stop in my tracks and try to yell something mean to him, to thinking it was you. And such a jack. I can't believe. Yeah, I forgot to tell you. Yelled at somebody thinking it was you.
That is hilarious.
Like a moron. You're a bad person, though. You're not socially inept because you're aware of what you did, but you're not getting off scot-free with your infraction.
All right. Yeah, I mean, that was my general thought, even though I don't like the kid. It's uncomfortably and socially awkward enough to raise eyebrows. But we've got the hack bag, 201-834-4308. Call in with your voicemails. Sean, this is the hack bag.
The mail never stops.
This is the hack bag. Hit us on Twitter for questions or call at 201-834-4308.
You already got it out of me, so I'm going to request that you don't speak over this one.
Do we have a voicemail?
We do have a voicemail.
Okay.
Just listen to this one. I'll come back in with it. Don't worry.
Will one of you two please explain to Ron how Tommy Hurtelot's contract actually truly works? And another thing. One day Sean's going to wake up in bed next to his man. Decade from now, Hack City will probably be done, and he's going to say, "Oh, God, this one guy CB used to always just get my craw. He was a lot like herpes, speaking of which. He went away, but he always came back."
Hey, CB. Hey, CB.
That was a good one. Thank you, CB.
Hey, CB, I'm going to tell you something. You're not in my craw. You're not in my kitchen. I don't think about you. You ain't in my craw, CB. You ain't in it. And if you think me like yelling in the show isn't, it's not. Funny line, me waking up in bed, that's fine. I'm more angry about the Tommy Mellott stuff. Tommy Hurtelot, give me a break.
He's going to be great with the Raiders.
He's going to be great with the Raiders.
I'm more mad that he said the show's going to be dead in 10 years.
Yeah, that's kind of mean.
Yeah.
But you're not in my kitchen, pal. You think I'm going to be waiting at midnight tonight, laying in my bed, trying to nod off to sleep, but I can't because I'm thinking about what CB said to me in a YouTube chat? You think that's happening, CB? It's not happening.
I love CB.
I appreciate your listenership. I appreciate you taking the time to call. You're not in my craw. An STD-free dickhead. Have been, always will be.
Have you been tested?
No need to. I look at it every day, feeling around every day for bumps.
But there's stuff that you can have that doesn't have outward signs of. I forget. There's the one. I know a lot about STDs.
Does one cause generic obesity? Because if that's the one, then I have it. If it doesn't, then I don't.
We should get Sean tested. That'll be.
It's gonna come up green, pal.
Green as in you have something.
No. Green as in
I don't think there's a color.
You don't. I think green is the last color I want to be associating with this conversation.
Yeah.
You had the green.
Huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
The green. You had it.
What do you mean?
You know, the green.
What's the green?
The pee in the green. Pus in the green. You know.
No.
That was your bag, right?
No. What the? Okay. All right.
Yeah. You want to start getting in my kid. You know what? Maybe CB is in my craw. Not as much as this jerk off sitting across from me, loading up this table. That's in my craw, CB. Yeah. You want to know how to get in my craw? Pull off a long con.
I got it to work.
You want to do a long con on me, CB? Don't call in for 2 years and then call in out of the blue. That's how you get me.
Or
this today, this execution from Joe, him trying to actually, he's been working a bit out. That's gonna piss me off all week.
I'm trying to think with the better never mind. Next question that we have, the only one voicemail.
Yeah. Only one voicemail. We got a nice brief question.
Okay.
To the DMs. You can always send the DMs. Bear Claw Media. Nice. Filling up the @Hack City Pod Twitter DMs. Their question: RC cars, hell yeah activity, or leave it to the kiddos?
What are you doing with them?
Racing them. He attached a video of like a mini
video and you didn't put it in there?
dirt track.
Oh,
mini dirt track racing around with a bunch of RC cars.
That's a hell yeah. Why didn't you put that in the? Oh, you should have sent it to me. I would have put that in. You know what? I think it just. I now realize there's something I want to spend money on. I want to buy one of these little cars.
RC cars rule. RC cars absolutely rule. I have tons of toy cars, gifts, but toy cars in my room.
G-Wagon for $150.
Dude, RC cars rule. Here's the problem. Bear Claw Media. All the dudes that are racing RC cars, biggest dorks you ever met. I mean, really rough optics, but full support of it. Full support. Like water skiers. I think that if you could water ski, go ahead. Me, I'm not going to tear my ACL behind a boat.
You got to get one of this one's $600. You got to get one of those ones though that's like souped out. Like this one's $600. You got to get one of these.
Yeah. Where you can control it all. Yeah. So you're starting a nasty precedent because if we get RC cars in this apartment,
I mean they're not going to fit anywhere, but I would still buy.
It's an RC car. It's 4 inches wide.
I want to. No. But you can get like a big one. You can get like this is a big one.
You can get one to drive around in here.
This is a big.
Where are you going to take it? You're going to go out. You know what you should do? You should walk your RC car. I'm going to put it in dogs.
No. Well, I can do that. I'm going to put it in the. Where on the roof where people take their dogs to shit. Yeah. I'm gonna put it in there. I'm really gonna fuck with all the dogs.
You should actually put it in there and let it drive over all the dog shit, and then drive it all around the building so it gets so it tracks in all the carpets.
You're just giving me great ideas.
Nice. Make all the cleaning ladies really earn their dollars. You're a bad person.
I'm trying to see how big this is.
You would do that and throw the RC car out because it has a bunch of dog shit on the tires. Do you think?
I would
think
no.
Do you ever think
I'd leave it outside the door?
So
I'll leave it in front of the door because I don't want to track anything in here. But then I can take it to run over more dog shit later. I'd build a little garage for it out in front of the door.
Here's what I would do with it immediately.
This one's $800.
We have a nice pool in our apartment building. That's gonna flex on the listeners a little bit. Yeah. CB, where's your pool, dickhead?
He lives in Montana, which sounds much cooler than where we.
Bet it's above ground, but. A summer RC car terrorizing the pool goers and constantly running up and bopping on their ankles and having the kids chase it and cause a bunch of mayhem with our view of the pool. I think I could entertain myself for a good hour.
So this one I found, that's a great idea. This one I found is 22 inches. So it's like this big. The wheels are an inch and a half.
You think your hands are 2 feet apart right there? No. Just about.
Oh, wait.
22 inches is 2 feet.
A little less than 2 feet.
Right there. Right about there.
That's a big fucking car.
Why are you getting that? Just get a little Joker. Get like the best.
$800.
You need to get the most.
Wait, they got airplanes.
Yeah, hey, folks, you can't hide money. That's all I'm going to tell you. You can't hide it.
You can get one of the airplanes too.
I don't know if I actually don't think we're in a spot generally in our jurisdiction, Joe, where we could have RC airplanes. I think there are designated zones.
1,000.
There are designated zones where you have to fly drones and airplanes. I do not think the New Jersey, New York metropolitan area is very kind about those, especially from what we saw this past fall.
I can't imagine what $1,000 gets you with this RC car.
I hope it's durability and max precision. That's what I would. I would want to be driving my RC car around, but like have very good control system, like the just turning and velocity with the one knob. Don't like it. I would almost want like an Xbox controller.
This is it's got kind of like the finger trigger one. This is the most expensive one. It's $1,500.
Yeah, that rules, but that could do damage.
Well, so I was going to bring this up. So my ex-girlfriend had a uncle who was just like he was a lawyer in LA, and he was just like a total like child. Like he had all this money and he just would dick around with it. So he bought one of these big ass things and would take it to the park. And he would just drive it around. And some kid, saw the car, like some 13-year-old kid tried fucking with it. And he blasted the kid in the shins, not on purpose. Like he was trying to avoid the kid, but the kid's like trying to get in front of the car, blasted him in the shins, broke the kid's shin. And the kid sued him as soon as they found out he was a lawyer and had all this money and was, but that is what you're getting with one of these things. They're like, it's like a weapon.
Joseph, thank you for coming to dinner. My brother's in some hot water.
Apparently, the aunt was the one who was telling me about this. He sounds exactly like this.
He named the kid with his RC car. Do you want to get in on that hobby? Piece of God. You can't get one now. You can't do that. You thought that story was ruled hard enough for you to get an RC car?
It's not a good story. It's definitely not a good story. It's not a good story. But I just think that the concept of knowing that I've got this thing and it's got that much juice and it could go around and do some damage, I think it makes it pretty cool.
You know what I'm going to do? What? I'm going to give you full transparency here. I'm going to buy an RC car. I'm going to hide it in your room.
I think that's AI generated.
I'm going to hide the RC car in your room under your bed. So then at one point during the day, I'm going to roll it out there, and you're probably going to stomp it because you would view that as some invasion of privacy. And I would just buy another and continuously. Oh, that's a good bit. You know what? I'm running with that. Get ready. RC cars in your room. Constant surprise.
At Joe DeLeone, at Sanderson Radio, at Hack City Pod, 201-834-4308. Call in with a voicemail. We are done. We will be back on Sunday. Bye, everyone.